Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Prokeep webinar. Today's presentation will be hosted by Jack Carrere from Prokeep. Jack, you're all set, so please take it away.
All right, appreciate it, Gary. Thank you so much for letting me participate and give you this webinar today. Really exploring the world of texting and then how distributors can take advantage. So I'm going to do a couple of things today. First, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about texting trends, where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. Talk to you a little bit about the benefits of texting, and specifically diving into use cases, hopefully relevant to most people on this call, distributors. And then give you a sneak peek at some user survey analysis that we put together last week after polling our users about the benefits of texting. I think it's pretty interesting stuff. We also are joined today by two TUG members who are early adopters to our platform, Jamie and Pete, and I'm going to bring them into the conversation later in this webinar. So here we go. So Prokeep, who are we? We are texting designed for distributors. So we allow your customers, contractors to text into your branches or call center, saving people time. We're giving your customers the convenience of being able to text like they do friends and family, but now allowing them to text into the business landline number for your locations. Just so you all understand, we're a startup with a distributed team. I'm here in New Orleans. I have a co-founder in Atlanta who runs our customer success team. And then I have a third co-founder who's based in Portland, Oregon, who leads our development team. Why I mention that is because we are product in development. We are always looking for feedback from the front lines. Jamie and Pete who are on this call, have participated in that. We take that feedback seriously, and we apply that to our product roadmap. And we're consistently shipping new features on a 4 to 6 week basis, which will hopefully improve the platform for you and others as we're focused on wholesalers and your particular use case. We're fortunate enough to be leading the space. We were featured in Hardy's Distribution Center magazine, which is the industry trade group for the HVAC industry. Because we started in HVAC, most of our customers are concentrated in that space at this moment. We do have over 150 distributors using Prokeep currently, and we're adding to that number on a month-to-month basis, which we're excited about. So texting, where has it been? This is kind of an interesting slide. For those of you that didn't know, texting's been around for 36 years, if you can believe it. It was born in the early 80s. The first text was sent in the early 90s. From one computer to another computer. It wasn't even on cell phones at that point. A year or two later, the first text-enabled phone was invented by Nokia. And then early on, or late in the 1990s, we were finally able to send text messages across networks. And what that means is if you're a Verizon customer, you could send to AT&T, you could send to Sprint, really enabling the universal appeal to text messaging. In the early 2000s, we were sending, the average adult was sending about 35 text messages a month, and then American Idol was born. And we had the ability to participate in a TV show by texting, which really kind of brought texting to the forefront of our minds and really made it mainstream. By the end of that decade, Americans were sending and receiving more text than they call. So interestingly, 97% of smartphone users text. We use text messaging on our smartphones more than we do call, more than we use the internet, browse the internet, and more than we email, believe it or not. How does this break down by generation? As you'd expect, the under 29 crowd is using text messages the most at 100%. 100% of them are texting at least once a week. But interestingly, even the older generations at 50 plus are texting once a week. That group is 92% of them are texting once a week. which makes sense if you look around and think about the people you text with. We're spending a ton of time using this tool. Adults spend 23 hours a week texting, and if you look at a pie chart of the entire week of our lives, that's one day a week that we're using texting friends and family, which is incredible. The velocity of this is only increasing. In 2014, the average adult was sending 32 texts per day. If you remember 2 slides ago, we were sending 35 texts per week. That's increased to 32 texts a day now. And then in 2017, that's increased almost 3 times to 94 texts per day. So why are people doing this? And why is this such an easy way, and why is this such a used form of communication? First, we've talked about it already, it's universal. Every phone has this capability, every network has this capability, so it's as easy as making a phone call. Within that, it's also just very convenient. Unlike a phone call where you're calling someone and they have to be ready to pick up the phone, when you send a text message, that is there waiting for them to be available and to respond to it. Also, you have a written record when you send a text message. So if you're making, let's say, dinner reservations for Friday, you text a friend, hey, let's go get dinner at 6:30. Maybe by the time Thursday rolls around, you've forgotten when that reservation is. But when you have a text, it's there waiting for you, and you can remember it. It's also less stressful for those that are getting the text. If you make a call, hey, are you available? You have to make a decision on the spot. But with a text message, you can consult your schedule, think about your response, and get back in a meaningful way to that particular person. And then finally here, voicemail is dead. Making calls, you spend a lot of time listening to the phone ring and then waiting for the prompt to leave a voicemail. And then the person on the other end needs to listen to that voicemail to then respond to you. Texts are read in 5 seconds on average, and it only takes us about 90 seconds to respond to text. So it's become a lot more reliable and quicker way to leave messages for people. So before I go any further, I wanted to kind of separate the universe of texting. The first half is marketing focused. We've all gotten text marketing. These are usually promotional in nature. Usually generated by the distributor or by the business. Hey, can you buy this product? Hey, we have an event going on. They're generally not personal because it's one message going out to many people, and there is the risk of harming the relationship. What we're going to be focused today in this webinar is the conversational aspect of messaging, and these are typically generated by the customer or the consumer, where the customer is asking a specific question to the business. Hey, do you have this piece of clothing? Hey, do you have this part? And then on the other end, the business has the opportunity to be the hero, to come in and answer that question, to come in and provide customer service. And because of that, you get to build the relationship. And then these 3 other bullets, convenience, accountability, efficiency, are all things that come with conversational messaging. So people want to text business. 89% of consumers say they want to text with the business. They want to be able to ask questions via this channel. And then we did a survey not too long ago and found that 94% of contractors are very likely text a distributor if that option was available. So how does this typically work at businesses and at distributors specifically? So right now, usually it's the contractor who has the personal cell phone of a distributor, counter person, inside salesperson, texting them pictures, texting them questions, texting them orders, which is great. It has a lot of benefits that come with texting, but there are a couple of constraints. First, that contractor needs the sales rep's phone number, so they need to have that personal relationship. The counter rep needs to feel comfortable giving out that phone number, and hopefully it won't be abused, and that privilege won't be abused by that contractor. Also, because it is just one-to-one text, there is the possibility of inconsistent response times. What if that counter person is in the warehouse? What if they're out on vacation? If they can't get back to the contractor within a reasonable amount of time, that order might be lost. Also, conversations are siloed, so the only record of these conversations are going to be on these two respective phones, which prevents you, the business, the distributorship, keeping this information with the business, especially if an employee were to leave in an extreme situation. And then finally, because it is siloed, you can't measure the channel. You can't understand who's texting, how much they're texting, what customers are deciding to participate in this channel, which is a definite downside in the age of analytics and understanding how customers buy and how they like to buy. So what do? We fix this. So in a nutshell, contractor setup is the same. They're just using the same texting app as they were before, texting like they do friends and family. The only thing they're changing is they're texting into the branch or location or call center landline number, which consolidates in our cloud. And then on your end, on the distributor side, we serve those messages to the group of people that you want answering them. Messages first go to what we call a shared inbox. So let's say if you have 3 users logged in at a particular branch, all 3 of those will get notified simultaneously. The first available rep would then have the opportunity to claim that and then work that message like it was a one-on-one text. Because we are cloud-based, there's no software on the distributor side. We just run everything through our web app. And the key here is we're not changing any behaviors on the contractor side. They're just texting like they typically would, but we're giving you the efficiency of being able to manage this channel. The advantages, more consistent response time. You give contractors the ability to take advantage of this channel by being able to advertise the phone number that you want them to use for texting. It's no longer beholden to that personal relationship that counter person might have with the contractor. And then finally, like I was speaking about before, now you can track and manage it. So you can manage it because it is consolidated, and you can track it with the analytics that we provide you. So the easiest way kind of for me to share with you the benefits of this is to take you through a quick example that we typically see in the HVAC world. So here you have a contractor out on a hot day asking a simple question: can you give me a price and availability for an evaporator coil? He also sends a picture of a piece of equipment with the nameplate visible. So on the contractor side, this is definitely quicker than calling. He's just typing a quick message and then taking a picture and then sending that in without the risk of waiting on hold. On your end, you get it in seconds versus minutes. This appears on your screen rather than having to pick up the phone and play the back and forth. Also, you are able to keep the phone line open. As you transition more of your ordering and question taking to texting, it leaves your phone line open for those that do need to call. So after the message has been received, we send back 2 automated messages on your behalf. The first is your message has been received by a particular branch, and then the second is a particular person has read that message at that branch and has started working it. And then finally here, John Smith gets back with a price and asks a simple question: do you need it delivered? So on the contractor side, I think this is super important. By getting the automated message, he first has assurance that his order has been received. So he gets somewhat of a read receipt from that business. And then he also knows who specifically is helping him. So that relationship that's so important at your branches is maintained. So they know, hey, this is John Smith. I trust him. He's helped me for 10 years, and I know my order is going to be ready on time. And then on the distributor side, because it is texting, you can work multiple orders at once. And because of that, you can prioritize. So you can say, hey, this is my best customer. I'm going to get to him first because he's going to be here in 15 minutes. And then these two other guys might be asking for something tomorrow. So let me work on those a little bit later. And then finally, the contractor gets back with a response, no delivery. Can you add this to our current PO? John Smith says, no problem. This is waiting in the warehouse. And then finally, he follows up with a PDF invoice because that's their process at this distributor. So on both sides here, I think you can see pretty clearly it's accountability all around. Contractor now has a written record of this in their phone. You'll have it in your Prokeep database, which you can search and find later. Really minimizing the possibility of he said, she said that inevitably can, that we see at counters of our customers. All right, so other uses that are very common. The first here is a picture of an order. So handwritten, orders on a 2x4, a piece of loose leaf, piece of drywall. A lot of contractors are taking pictures of those handwritten items and then sending them into the counter. If you think about it, just a real convenient and easy way for them to get their order into the people that can fulfill it without having to pick up the phone and then list these items off and then have the person on the other end probably write those down. Just a lot faster, and plus you have the written record. Something we didn't originally design Prokeep for, but we're seeing a lot of outside salespeople use Prokeep by having all those orders and texts that they get from their customers to their personal cell phones, forwarding those onto the counter or inside sales group to help with order fulfillment, freeing up the outside sales guy to do what they're paid to do and spend time with customers, build relationships, and generate more business. Also, technical docs. So Prokeep is a great way to message out and answer questions about equipment and how to put things back together or take things apart. You can do that by either taking a screen grab of what you can see here, an exploded view to help the contractor, or you can even send a whole PDF, a piece of a technical doc or a user manual if that's helpful. And then finally, a lot of part confirmations, a lot of pictures of, hey, I'm ripping apart a piece of equipment. Let me take a picture of this particular part because we all have different names for different things. Send that into the counter so we're working off the same script. You can even do this when you're on the phone with your guy at the counter. You send it into the same number that you're already talking on, and then at least y'all will be looking at the same thing. So at this point, you might be asked, why should I care? This sounds great. And let me step you through some of the results that we got from one of our recent user surveys. So the first reason is texting saves a bunch of time. So users save 25 minutes a day. That's about 8 hours a month and a little over 100 hours a year. So if you consider your average ticket size and ask yourself how many extra tickets could you process with 100 more hours a year per salesperson, that is probably a pretty significant result. We also asked our users how useful is texting. We found that 72% of Prokeep users say texting is extremely or very useful. The opposite side of that, if you look at this graph, only about 1% said that texting was not useful at their location. I'm almost more proud of that than I am the 72% of users saying that texting is useful. But why? Why is it useful? It kind of falls in line with what we've already talked about. First, record of conversation, so the accountability piece. Second, it's more efficient than leaving a voicemail, so the efficiency piece. And then fewer phone calls. So as you implement a texting solution, it often leads people to use that source to order product or ask questions, leaving the phones less busy, less people waiting on hold, which is where the time savings comes in. It also will make it easier for you to do business. Your contractors will recognize that. 74% of Prokeep users agree that texting makes it easier to do business. In an age of convenience and always wanting things, always looking for shortcuts, Prokeep can be an easy win for you and your contractors. Because of this convenience, because it's easier to do business, this drives sales. 30% of our users agree that texting leads to more sales, which is a powerful figure. Why do customers text their distributor? It kind of falls in line with the previous slide. First, place orders. Second, inventory checks. Third, price checks. So all things that we do within contractors do in their buying process are things that they're doing most often at Prokeep. And then I thought this was interesting. So the first way that distributors use Prokeep to text customers is sending quotes, which makes sense because of how often Prokeep's used for the buying process. But it's also interesting that the two bars here that I have highlighted in green are times when a distributor decides, I got a call or I got information in some other method, I'm going to use a text message to send back my response to the contractor, really highlighting how the texting channel, the way of communication is more convenient. It's going to generate a faster response and get eyeballs on my response faster, which I thought was interesting. So quick before I get into the panel discussion, just a shameless plug about our product and our process. So if you're interested in learning more, please contact me. I have my contact at the end of this presentation. We can give you a demo, show you the product, and then also invite you to try it out. So we have a 30-day free trial. It gives you the opportunity to test at one of your locations. You get access to the full product, and we'd like to think no risk. And then if you're enjoying it, it was working within your process, you saw the value, we'd also work with you to plan a rollout to your other locations. We really customize our onboarding experience to fit your unique culture. So we'll spend some effort looking at that, and then ultimately, our goal is to expand to your network to bring texting and this convenient communication channel to your entire business so that you can reap the rewards. So without further ado, I am going to introduce our panel. Jamie Hutsimple is the VP of Operations at Kerr Controls up in Nova Scotia, and he and his group were one of the earliest users of Prokeep. Very excited to have him on the phone with us. And then Pete Masewicz, who's the VP of IT at Thomas Somerville Company. And I'd have to say we piloted and trialed with them after the summer. They were one of the groups that probably was one of the fastest to see the value, get excited about rolling out to their network. So excited about having them with me today. Thank them in advance for answering my hopefully harmless questions. But I'll start it off by asking you gentlemen, can each of you walk me through why you decided to invest in this communication channel? Was it the trend to texting, the benefits, or both? Can you talk to me a little bit about your thought process?
Sure.
Sure.
Go ahead, Jamie.
Go ahead, Pete.
Okay, Pete will go. So those are the benefits that we've talked about, are the ones we hope to get. We wanted to give our customers another way to contact us, and we wanted to do something that was, we're kind of an old company and we do things an old way. We thought this would really kind of give a boost to our customers to make it easier for them to talk to us. So we really thought both just the trend of texting and getting it off our employees' phones, and the overall benefit of having multiple people engaging customers in this new communication channel were really our drivers.
And for us at Kerr, this experience has really been enlightening for us. We first saw Prokeep at Hardy and thought it was a neat technology, and we knew our outside salespeople were being texted by our customers today. But what we didn't appreciate when we started doing research within our own company is how many of our counter people had given out their personal phones and were texting with customers today. So when they were on vacation or they were out of the branch, that text was going to someone that wasn't at work. If they weren't at their phone, there could be a big delay in the customer getting a response. So for us, when we initially saw it, we thought, hey, this is the trend. Millennials are the #1 generation in the workforce today. It's going to move more this way. Our outside salespeople are using it now. But what surprised us was how much it was being used at our counters, even though they weren't on company phones. So it's been a big win for us.
Interesting. And that's something that we hear quite a bit. We're doing texting already. It's on our personal phones. So it's interesting, Jamie. You mentioned transitioning your customers or conditioning them to text into the branch. Was that a hard process to condition them to now, hey, you're not going to be texting on personal phones anymore. You'll be texting into my branch. How did they take that change? Was that a big lift?
It's funny. I would say it was split 50-50. For half the customer base, it was actually easier because right away they saw the benefit. I'm going to text one number, someone's going to answer it, and I'm going to know who it is. I don't have to worry who's in the branch that day or who's at lunch. For the other half, because they had developed relationships with that key person inside, for them it was just a matter of getting them to try it. Once they tried it, they saw, hey, I'm getting a response, and it's coming quickly. I don't have to worry. For them, it was that initial giving the trust to somebody else when they had their key person that they always dealt with.
Right. That's enlightening. I mean, it's one of the reasons why we built Prokeep the way it is today. Speed and efficiency. I think that's how consumers, that's how contractors are choosing to buy. So once they see that, once they have had that experience, it becomes a lot easier for them to repeat that process. Because at the end of the day, this is behavior change. So seeing that, getting that aha moment, at some point in the process, it's interesting that pulls them into the fold. Cool. So I'm going to kick this one over to you, Pete. So y'all have been up and running with us for about 6 months now. Can you describe one or two use cases that have been particularly valuable to you and your business you've seen Prokeep work out in the field?
Yeah, so maybe combine it with the surprises as well. One thing we found that a lot of our base are multilingual, so Spanish is very common, and we've had problems with we don't have enough people who can speak Spanish, but these Spanish speakers are texting in and getting our inside sales guy who does speak Spanish picks them up, so we can have a much better conversation with that Spanish-speaking community than we had before. And I think we service that community and those contractors much better than we did before. So I think that was a big surprise. And another thing that a lot of times you send out an order, if you do it over the phone, somebody on the inside might write something down wrong. So you get into that, who asked for what, or why didn't you deliver something in my order? We've solved a lot of problems by getting these pictures of lists, and then we key it in from that list, and quite often we're going back and say, well, this is what you said, and the guy goes, oh, you're right, I thought I did order that. So I think it just helps our relationships by keeping things very clear, the communication, and it's backed up by something in writing, not just somebody on a phone call.
Yeah, that's interesting. It brings to mind, so one of the use cases that, Prokeep not only is it a platform where you can receive messages, but you can also initiate conversations. And I thought one of the coolest use cases I've heard is, one group set up their warehouse people with this, with Prokeep, so that they could send out a message to contractors when a special order came in. Because warehouse people not always the best on the phone. Let's give them a way to quickly and easily notify who they need to notify, so that contractor can come in and get their part. How about you, Jamie? Any interesting use cases you've come across?
Yeah, there's a few. One would be, I would say, just replacement parts. Our customers in the field, and they're working on an older unit, and they need this part replaced. Before that would have been a phone call describing the model number, serial number. What it is now, it's just a simple picture. I need this motor, and our people at the counter can then take the time, because it's over text, to go research and find out what the replacement part is, and it's not multiple phone calls back and forth. Another one has been with warranty. We have several of our manufacturers now that require pictures with the warranty claim. So when the tech is in the field, now the contractor, it's a simple matter of saying, hey, I have a warranty with this. Our counter person writes back and says, I'll need a picture of that to go with the claim, and it's done instantly, and it's logged. So it's not something that you have to search through. It's there. There's a record of it. And third, it made me chuckle when you were talking about one of the surprise use cases has been outside salespeople texting inside people. That's something that kind of caught us off guard. In one of our locations, our outside person caught onto it early, and it really does make a lot of sense when it's a general request that someone inside needs to look after. It's a way to hit everybody, and someone picks it up and it's followed. So that's worked well. And when we installed Prokeep, that was not on our radar as a use at all.
Yeah, it wasn't on ours either. But sometimes you build a product and kind of release it to the market, and the market decides how it's going to be useful, and that's it's a great application and makes a lot of sense. So I want to leave enough time for questions from the audience. So I'll ask one more to you guys before kicking it over to see if we have any questions from the crowd. But maybe I'll start with you on this one, Jamie. How do you want the texting communication channel to evolve? What excites you the most about the future and using it at Kerr?
For me, what excites me the most is we're definitely seeing. I know you showed the slide and the demographics and the under 29. Is we are seeing younger people come into the workforce, whether it's with us or with the customer, and they want instant communication. They want fast response, and the texting allows us to deliver that. It makes us easier to do business with, because texting for a lot of things is easier. It's a lot faster than a phone call. It's faster than an email, and that's what excites us, because we see people out there that in their personal lives are conditioned to communicate that way, and Prokeep allows us to communicate with them in their work life that way. So it makes it easier, and it's a win-win for both sides. The customer is communicating the way they want. They're getting fast response, and for us, it's really saving on phone calls. It's leaving a record of it. You're not writing things down. You have a log, so you can go back and look at it. So it's a win-win for both sides, the customer and the wholesaler.
Cool. Awesome. Good to hear. Anything from you, Pete, on what how you'd like to see this evolve, and how you want it to evolve with your business?
Well, one of the things we'd love to get to the point where if the customer was agreeable, is to provide some type of notice of special shows, training, something that would interest them, because we know people don't read their emails, but everyone reads their text. So we think if we have special occasions that everyone wants to know about, it's a great way to get that kind of communications out, not just by asking for price and availability. So, but we want to be careful. We don't want to spam our customers.
Yeah, that's something we hear quite a bit from customers, and our approach to that's going to be measured and very carefully, because the value of texting that we see and talked about today is that conversational piece where you get to be the hero, you get to respond to that request, and get the customer on his way quickly and efficiently. The second that you start painting that with promotions that maybe aren't as relevant, you can deteriorate that. So it's something on our radar, and we'll be excited to talk to you more about later this year as we bring that into development. Great. Gary, are there any questions from the audience that we can help with?
We do have a few, so I'll read them off to you. First, somebody asked, what if a customer wants to text to a specific person and not a group, but still want to retain the tracking and reporting that Prokeep offers? Is that possible?
Jamie, have y'all come up with a solution for that? I can give the generic response, but I'm interested to see how y'all handle it.
What we do, if it's something for someone inside, the customer just puts on the first line of the text basically, hey, this is for Jamie, and that's our workaround how we handle
it. Okay.
Yeah. So go ahead, Pete.
I just say one thing we do if we ask our associates if they get a text on their personal phone, always respond back through a Prokeep.
Yeah, it's a good strategy for getting more people on the platform, for sure.
Okay. Second question, can I assume that, let's extend this one a little bit, can I assume that all follow-up texts are directly with whoever in inside sales took the original text and does not go back into the group for anyone, just anyone to respond?
That's absolutely right. So, when you claim the message, and if you were to see a demo, this would be pretty clear. That it's basically like you're picking up the ringing telephone, and then that associate who claimed it now has ownership, and they're going to be the person that's on point for that conversation. So they'll be the only one receiving notifications about from that contractor going forward until that conversation has been closed.
Okay. Somebody asked, curious to learn how Prokeep connects to SX.enterprise and Cloud Suite.
So we are ERP agnostic, and one of the benefits right now has allowed us to roll out to as many distributors as quickly as we have. Is we don't integrate with any specific ERPs, but there's a lot of opportunity there for sure. And as we advance into 2019, we're going to start having conversations about that, and trying to understand where the value is, and then building the APIs to be able to facilitate that.
Okay. Somebody asked if they could see how it is deployed. Don't know if you guys are prepared for that or not.
So, what does that mean?
I think just just a quick demo of seeing how it's actually working.
Yeah, I don't know if we have, with 3 minutes left. I'm not sure I'm prepared to do a good job on that, but
I think you're right. Maybe just schedule a one-on-one
follow-up. Yep.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, I'll make sure you get a list of everybody who asked the questions. Pricing model. Do you guys have one?
We do. So we price on a location basis. What that means is unlimited users with limited text, unlimited data. We also come in and train your branches, and happy to come back and do that. If you have a new employee come on 6 months later, it's part of the deal. We also, because we're focused on wholesalers in this market, we've built out specific marketing materials and templates that we can hand over to your people, so that you can make them into what you customize them for your specific business or brand, and use that to get a head start. But the price per location is $83.33 a month per location, and that's billed up front for the year. And if for some reason you decided this wasn't for you or wasn't working out, you can cancel at any time with no cancellation fee, and we refund you the rest of your term. So built to be flexible, and then with the trial up front, which is free, you get a taste of it and can understand the value before moving forward with a rollout to your other branches.
Okay. How fast does the implementation go?
So, because we are agnostic to ERPs, there isn't really much hair on this. It's a very easy lift. We're hosted in the cloud, so there's nothing you need to install on your own servers. And our onboarding team really takes the burden off of all the trainings, the coordination, make sure that everybody's pointed in the right direction, and go. Jamie and Pete, from your perspective, compared to other implementations you've done, because I know you've done a lot of these types of things, where would you rate the process of getting your people on Prokeep?
In terms of ease, it would rank in the top 5% of any implementation we've ever done. It's really simple because it's in the cloud, so there's nothing you have to do with the ERP or the server, and it's just really easy to use. So even there is training, but even if you didn't have training, you would figure out how to use it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And the other part is once I say go and give you the numbers, I think we were up within a week. So I mean, it came up quickly, and then it's just a matter of getting your people learning it. It's so easy to learn. There's just nothing to do on our end. It was easy.
Yeah, we actually spend a lot of time. We actually spend a lot of time with them, like the training, quote unquote, because it is an easy to use tool. A lot of it's just been on coaching the value to the users, and then coaching them on how to talk to customers about it. Because the name of the game is adoption. So we want to make sure they know how to be successful with the tool, so you get your money's worth.
Okay. How does this work from a technical perspective? How do you route text throughout the corporate number?
So you have a phone system. It's probably complicated. It's probably expensive. You work with a phone company, so they're responsible for routing voice calls. What we do is we latch on to that code or phone number and text enable that specific line. So we're not porting it anywhere. It's still living with you. It's still living with your phone company. We're just text enabling that number. And when texts are sent from Verizon, Rogers, or whatever telecom you're using to your landline phone number, because we've set up the routing to Prokeep, it comes to us, and then we route it to you via our business rules on the web app to your computer. So that's one of the, when Pete was talking about it only took us about a week to get up and running, technically we were ready to go in a couple of days. Most of the time needed to get started is because it's, we need to figure out schedules and when we're going to, take some of your people's time to train them. That's usually the biggest constraint.
Okay. Do you have any plans for an app so responses can be handled outside of business hours or away from a computer, or something similar to FaceTime for troubleshooting with customers?
Interesting. We do have an app is on our roadmap. It's slated for development later this the first half of 2019, probably available in Q3. And then in terms of using Prokeep to be able to FaceTime or see issues real time, that's probably not something we would do, but we are talking with partners to facilitate that sort of interaction.
Okay. All right, just one more question. It's a quick one. Somebody asked, Jamie, how did you learn about Prokeep?
We learned about Prokeep from Hardy. We're an HVAC refrigeration wholesaler, so that's the industry group that we're in, and that's who Prokeep initially kind of started with advertising their product.
Okay. And Pete, how did you learn about it?
I learned about through magazine articles.
Oh, okay. Was it a trade magazine?
That was probably the Hardy article that I shared in the beginning. Is that the one piece?
That's correct. That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Jack, we don't have any more questions, so I think we can wrap it up.
Awesome. Well, I left my contact information here on the screen if you want to follow up and get a demo, and then I'm sure Gary, you'll distribute that as well. But looking forward to some offline conversations, and thank you to the panelists for joining me today and sharing your wisdom, and thanks for everybody for joining me and spending some valuable time with Prokeep.
Great. Thank you, Jack. It was a good presentation. Everybody have a great day. See you at TUG Connects.
All right. Bye.